Hello, Ian here with Touratech USA, and this is going to be a quick introduction and installation video of the Touratech GPS bracket adapter that fits on the BMW F850GS, F850GS Adventure, and F750GS. This is a part that's designed specifically to allow you to mount one of our Touratech locking mounts or a cell phone holder or really anything that you can adapt to this 12mm crossbar, and it's going to put it on the motorcycle above the instruments to get it closer into your line of sight while you're riding. It creates kind of an unsafe situation if you have to constantly look down at your handlebars to take a look at your GPS, find the way that you're trying to ride, etc. So this is a part that's made specifically for these bikes, specifically for this purpose, and I'm going to explain how to install it here on our F850GS. So let's get to the bike and get to work. So the first step is to go onto the website and actually download the instructions for this piece. There are enough small pieces in this that I think it really helps to get all the things assembled correctly. So what I've done here is I've pre-assembled the actual bracket itself, and this is made up of 4 different pieces. So the bottom piece here is one piece, then you've got these 2 arms here are 2 separate pieces, and then you have the crossbar at the top, which is its own 4th piece. So the way you do that is you start by assembling the crossbar at the top. You use 2 of the shorter button head bolts here. These ones are 12mm long. Put thread locker on both of these and then screw this together so that the arms bend in toward the crossbar. Then once you have that assembled loosely, then you put the arms onto the base piece here. All 4 of these bolts are the same. They are button head 14mm, and you use 2 washers with each one washer on the outside, 1 washer on the inside, and then a nylock nut here on the inside. And with this bracket, you'll see I have the bend facing toward me right here, and you want the arm brackets to be bent away from you when this bottom piece is bent toward you. This is one of the things that the instructions do a really good job of depicting. So again, please print out the instructions, have them with you when you're assembling this so you only have to do it once. These bolts use a 4mm Allen wrench to tighten them, and this here uses a 10mm spanner wrench. Now that we've got this piece assembled, we're going to remove the windscreen from the motorcycle. On our bike, we have the Touratech Tall Touring windscreen, and this uses Torx T25 fasteners, 4 of them. Now that we have the windscreen removed, we have to take off this cover right here. It's held on with 2 push pin body clips. I've already opened this one up. The way that you open these guys is to actually pry the head away, and what that does is it allows this piece to collapse, and then you can pull it right out. The correct tool to do this is a small pry bar for doing body clips. If you don't have one of those, you can do it with a screwdriver. Don't have to worry too much about putting marks on this because we are not going to be reusing this piece. With this cover out of the way, now we can remove the 4 T30 bolts that hold the whole windscreen mount in place. This is as far as you're going to have to disassemble the bike at this point. If you are going to be running power wires up to your GPS, I highly recommend doing it right now. You've got good access here above the headlight to run wires up the backside, and then you can snake them up the arms of this GPS mount. We're not going to do that on this bike because we swap GPSs around a lot, so we have a power cable up on the handlebars. So our next step is to take the windscreen bracket that we just removed and the Touratech GPS bracket here and put it on the back side and just run the 4 bolts through it. These bolts aren't holding anything in place. It's just going to get sandwiched here against the motorcycle. So we'll put that in right now. Now we have this part securely mounted. We've got the windscreen bracket bolted back on. Before we throw the windscreen on this bike, I highly recommend taking this chance to install the GPS bracket. It's much easier to reach the bolts on the back side of this when the windscreen is not in place. So I'm going to mount the GPS bracket on here and then sit on the motorcycle, and when I have access to these 4 bolts here, I'm going to make sure that I adjust the height and I'm happy with where it's positioned before I throw the windscreen back on. My personal recommendation on mounting position here is to get the GPS mount as low as possible without blocking any of the warning lights on the instrument cluster. For this bike here, for this F850, and me personally at my height, I found that I'm just a little bit below the halfway height. So right in the middle and then down just a hair, that's where I like it personally. Your mileage may vary. Find what works best for you. Now that the mounting position is finalized, the GPS locking mount is in place, and the windscreen bracket is bolted back on securely, it's time to remount the windscreen on the motorcycle and we'll be all done. All right, the installation is finished, and here's a nice rider's eye view of what the cockpit now looks like. You can see we've got that GPS locking mount right above the instrument cluster in the center, and it's easy to look at without taking your eyes off the road. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more parts we make for your motorcycle, please visit Touratech-USA.com. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.